So welcome to the Courageous Nerd YouTube channel. I'm Connor and I'm joined today by Travis Burnett. Travis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. Thanks for taking the time to be here. And
Thanks
obviously
for having me.
oh, for sure. I was about to say as well, people know you as like a young actor. And what kind of inspired you to go into the industry in the first place? Like, what made you want to, be an actor?
A big part of that was my grandma. She really inspired me. She was on stage doing her thing, and one of her directors named Todd Nielsen, he invited me on stage and he had me announce their show. So I had to memorize the director, the music director, and I had to go on stage and say it. And when I heard the applause, like there was the hugest grin on my face. And the first thing I said to the director as I was walking off, and I said, "That was super, super fun. Can I do it again?" And that was only when I was 3. So after that, it sort of went into Todd knew somebody who was an acting coach. So I was able to go to them, and they did a showcase. And I started in musical theater. So I was able to get my roots there and then grew into TV and film.
Absolutely. And I suppose, like, speaking of that, you've done a few varied projects. Some examples like Dispatches from Elsewhere. You've done Diary of the Future President, and more recently on The Connors. Like, do any of those projects or characters stand out in particular?
One that definitely stands out is Dispatches from Elsewhere, because Jason Segel, he really, really cares about that project. That's like, he's done a lot of things in his life, but he said, like, behind the scenes or something, I think he said that this is his most important project that he's ever done. And it was really cool to be a part of that, to help him accomplish his vision. And he actually came into the makeup trailers. I was getting on my clown makeup because I wear a clown face. And yeah. And he came in and he said, "Hey, I know you." And I said, "Well, I know you too," because I was a little shocked that Jason Segel just walked in, because they were talking and said he wouldn't arrive until like 25 minutes. So I was able to prepare myself, but there he was. So, and as Jason saw the makeup artist drawing on my face for the clown outline, he sort of said, "Hey, can I see that?" And he penciled in some red where he wanted it. And it was really, really cool to just like, wow, he really knows how he wants this done. And it was really, really interesting to see.
Absolutely. And like what you were saying about it being important to him makes complete sense, because people might not know he actually also created the show as well as being the lead in it. So like, from your perspective, like, was that unusual of the creator kind of acting with you and knowing them in that way?
Yeah. I don't know how common it is for like every single project, but I know in my career, I don't think I've ever had somebody that has created it, written it, directed it, and like he did everything essentially for the first and last episode, I think. So it was really, really cool.
For sure. And again, kind of what you were saying as well, like being a young actor, and that we're in a very like technologically dominated world right now, like over the past maybe 10 years. And how would you say stuff like social media affects young actors and their daily lives?
Well, it can really, really help you as an actor, because on the platform, let's say Instagram, for instance, you can message other actors and see like how they do something, what their setup is, who their coaches are. I got a DM on Instagram a couple weeks ago that said, "Hey, just curious, what are your acting coaches? What's your setup?" And I told them, and they were really grateful. And that's something that a lot of people can do. They can get their first start they can get their foot in the door, essentially. They can sort of learn how to do it. And that's really, really, really neat.
For sure. And definitely with those projects I mentioned, you've had the opportunity to develop those characters over multiple episodes. Like, what have you enjoyed about having that opportunity?
Well, when you're making a character, you sort of have to have a 3-step arc. You have to have the beginning, middle, and end of that character. And if you establish everything that's known about that character in the beginning, you don't have anywhere to go. And I think if a character has a good arc, the character will stay interesting for the whole seasons, hopefully, of the show. And I think that's very important for a character to have some mystery involved in it.
Yeah, and I think definitely people underestimate like one episode guest stars, because they've only got that 30 minutes or an hour to, you know, play the entire character arc out.
Yeah.
Whereas people who've got like seasons of time to play with it, I think it's, or even like just a couple of episodes, you know, it's very impressive to have that beginning, middle, and end in such a short space of time. I think so anyway.
Well, in Diary of a Future President, actually, my character, he was just like meant to be in a couple episodes, but come the second season, he was given a much more much bigger role to play in the storyline. And that's a very good character arc for the character. And that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I know like some actors have different methods of going about it, but when you're given a new character, do you kind of focus, okay, like how is he similar? How can I use that? Or like how are they different to me? And like what can I use from there?
Yeah. Well, when I get an audition, I look at the character description. Before that, I do like research on the directors and stuff, but I look at the character description and I highlight how he is similar to me. And if he's really, really similar to me, then I highlight that. But if there's something like, say he's really, really jittery and I'm kind of jittery too, I would focus on that and sort of make that my main character description. And doing that, I think, and one of my acting coaches said, it helps the casting directors relate you to the role that they're looking for.
For sure. And like most recently, you've appeared as Logan on the Conners in a recurring role. And I suppose what excited you about joining this show? Because obviously it has a history that like long predates, you know, when you were even born. And like, were you nervous about like being on that set?
I was super, super nervous because you're basically entering a family, their set family, their second home away from home. And when you're entering there, it could be they just talked amongst themselves. They just stay in their corner. I'm sort of left on the outskirts, but that wasn't how it was at all. They were very welcoming. It made me feel like I could get used to doing that for like 9 or 10 years.
Right, absolutely. It's like a very kind of like family atmosphere, kind of you know, pleasant, nice place to be, basically.
Yeah, it was really, really nice.
Absolutely. And I suppose like as well as what we already mentioned, like what can people expect, you know, career-wise, like project-wise coming up for you?
Right now I just auditioning, waiting for things. I had a good deal of voiceover auditions in the last couple days, so maybe one of those will stick. So I might be in a voiceover. This is the start of pilot season, so maybe something like that's gonna pick up. So we'll see.
Yeah, I've heard people say in the past though that pilot season is kind of becoming less, or not less important, but kind of less prevalent than it used to be. Like, would you say that's the case, or is it still a huge deal for any actor in that, you know, in the Los Angeles area? Yeah.
If COVID and all that wasn't a major issue, I probably could have told you more in depth, because pilot season was almost non-existent in 2020, 2021, but maybe 2022, pilot season will be becoming more important, because I remember 2018, 2019, pilot season was a huge thing. You could be getting like 4 new pilot auditions in 3 days. And like, that's a big part, because let's say only 2 of those shows actually make it to network and only 1 of those shows makes it to the screen. So it's a kind of a gamble, because if you book something, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be on TV.
Absolutely. And I guess fingers crossed it can get back to what it was a few years ago, before this whole nightmare of a pandemic even happened. And I suppose just to wrap this up with my last question, it's kind of similar to what I just asked, but like in a broader sense, like for you personally, what do you hope to accomplish in 2022?
Ooh, I hope to accomplish in 2022. Well, if COVID wasn't going around, I would really love to go get back into musical theater, but I don't think I'm going to do that just yet, just because the rehearsal time takes so long. But I would really like to be in, like, just like the Conners, there's a big family. I would love to be in a new pilot that has their own family that you can really build that atmosphere around.
For sure. And I suppose, you know, to say congrats, you know, for your run on the Conners, because your last episode even just came out recently, and you know, best of luck with everything else you're going after, you know, this year and onwards. Just again, thanks for taking the time, Travis. All the best. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you.